The Bad Crypto Podcast is brought to you by eToro. It's time to say goodbye to Coinbase and Robinhood. Say hello instead to an app with the smartest trader tools and community. Visit badco.in/eToro today. Learn how to get free special edition Badcoin socks when you sign up. We started this journey because the blockchain and crypto world fascinates us. And we knew that by doing so, we'd have the opportunity to speak to some fascinating people. Well, that is exactly what's happened. But nothing prepared us for the incredible conversation we were about to have with Professor Samson Williams. What started as a casual meeting at an event in Philadelphia led to a mind-blowing discussion that goes down a number of rabbit holes. In fact, we'll tell you up front that this conversation was so epic that we've already invited Samson to come back and share more of his thoughts. Yeah. It's that good. So prepare to be fascinated. It's like sitting down at the movie theater with a fresh bucket of hot buttered popcorn, but without the greasy mess and 10 previews of coming attractions. This is a fascinating crypto conversation with Professor Samson Williams on episode number 323 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, ignition.
Who's bad?
Mr. Travis Wright, I'm feeling fascination. Human League, the 80s.
Okay, I vaguely recall that song.
Yeah, totally 80s music. Totally 80s. Welcome to the Bad 80s Podcast. I'm Joel Comm, and that's Travis Wright.
That's true. And I want to start off here real quick because I want to get to this interview real quick. So let's give a shout out to our show sponsor, eToro. The best way to be smart about trading crypto is to use the smartest trading platform. That's why I'm excited to tell you about eToro, the largest trading platform, one of the largest in the world, with over $1 trillion in trading volume on the platform per year. And U.S. customers can trade the most popular cryptos with very low fees and very transparent fees. And if you're not ready to trade yet, well, guess what? You can begin practicing your portfolio with $100,000 of fake cash and see how well you do. And also, there's 11 million traders out there. And so if you want to discuss trading or even watch traders or watch financial advisors and see what they do, that's a great way to do that. You can create an account today at badco.in/eToro. And if you do it soon, there's still a couple pairs of socks left. And what you got to do is put in at least $50, do your first time deposit, and then execute your first trade with that $50. And then boom, send us an email at badcryptopodcast@gmail.com, and we will get you some socks. badco.in/eToro.
And there is no witty banter that could be better than the conversation we had with Samson Williams. So what do you say we just jump right in?
Let's do it. Let's go. There's no banter. Let's go.
Just a short time ago, I was at a conference, and there was a gentleman walking around that had a bunch of people gathering around him and asking questions. And I thought to myself, this is the most interesting person in the room, and we need to get him on the show. His name is Samson Williams. And Samson, welcome to Bad Crypto.
Welcome. Excited to be here with you guys as a guest and not just a listener.
Oh, nice.
So you're a listener. I like that. We like having listeners.
It's true. I think I might be your only listener secretly, but we assign our students to listen to your podcast too for a couple of things. In particular, I'm just give a shout out to Dimitri Bodrin. What about fake crypto exchange volume? You guys have?
Oh, yeah, Dimitri Buterin. Yeah.
Buterin,
the CEO of Hacken.io.
So that was actually super helpful on so many levels. So you guys are doing, I call it the Lord's work, educating folks. So thank you for that.
Oh,
amen, nice. Brother. Amen.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, if you have them listen to badco.in/basics, that's a playlist that we put together of 10 of the foundational episodes to really teach people about blockchain, Bitcoin, mining, keeping their stuff secure. So that's really a really good link to have people listen to.
That's badco.in.basics.
forward slash. Yeah,
basics.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah, go down there, /basics. And that goes for all of y'all out there as well. Whether you're just jumping into the show, it's a good place for you to start. Or if you've got friends, family, associates, enemies that you want to make, friends of, send them there as well. So let me give you a proper intro here, Samson. According to your bio, you're a classically trained anthropologist. What does that mean, classically? Did you listen to classical music when you got trained?
I know. I actually specialize in Mesoamerican culture as well as medical anthropology.
Okay.
And so you have some new fandangled folks who are like more marketing anthropologists, but we don't believe in those heretics.
Okay. You're also a finance and public health expert. You advise Fortune 100 companies. Samson's focus is helping firms understand the latest human trends in fintech, cannabis, alternative investments, blockchain, AI, health, and digital transformation so they can make profitable decisions for their bottom lines. And I saw Mr. Travis Wright light up when I said cannabis.
I did not light up.
You lit up just a little bit.
It is way too early in the day for me to lighten up.
All right, here's my first question for you, Samson. Your website is axesandeggs.com.
Yeah.
Yes, axesandeggs.com. And there's a picture. Your logo is an egg with a chicken in it and an axe. What is that?
Many years ago when we started cryptocurrency mining, we needed to open up a bank account. And so we're like, well, let's just call ourselves Axes and Eggs. And if anyone asks what we do, we sell axes and eggs. So for a while, you could actually buy axes or eggs off our website. But the context behind that is in 1849, there was a gold rush in California. And so from the gold rush, if you wanted an egg, it cost the equivalent of $80 today. But in 1849, the US dollar, as you know, the greenback, it didn't exist. So you paid for everything in gold. And so the people who never went into the mine, they made the most money. Probably the most popular, well-known are Levi Jeans and Wells Fargo. Never went into the mine, made all the money. So in our business model, if you need some assistance or help, we're happy to give you the proverbial axes and eggs or tools to get yourself up and running.
That's excellent. Or is it excellent? I don't know. It's both.
Excellent. Will do.
Excellent. Very good, Mr. Joe Comp. No, we've always heard about the pickaxes and shovels, right? I've not actually heard about the eggs. $80 eggs, that is a really expensive ass egg.
Yeah, it was a luxury item back in the day, but if you're hungry, you're hungry. It's sort of like if you want to mine, you need a pan and a pick, and so you
want to get your dinner. If you want to get some damn eggs in your belly, you better get out in the mine and get some of that gold cooking. That's great.
That's right.
I love that. So now so this agency, this is a think tank and digital advisor group. So you also, just so folks know, you're a certification designer and adjunct professor at the University of New Hampshire School of Law. You are teaching blockchain, cryptocurrency, and part of the law program, correct?
Yes. Just a general disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I'm only a lawyer on Twitter, hashtag Twitter Esquire. But I co-created with the dean the blockchain, cryptocurrency, and the law program, primarily because startups were paying lawyers $800 an hour for on-the-job training to understand what is blockchain.
Right. So what does the course look like then for folks, and who are the types of folks who are taking that course?
So we actually lobbied really hard so that anyone could take the course. So initially you need to be in the law school, but we've progressed beyond that. And so that now anyone who has an associate's degree or is in pursuing one can take the certification program. We've broken it up over a couple of different disciplines. So I personally teach the tokenomics class, the smart cities class, and the blockchain for social impact. And so the professors, Dean Evans, and the other real lawyers, they teach data privacy and security, ethics of distributed systems in healthcare, and cryptonomics and blockchain governance. So those are those 6 courses that you can take right now. We're really super excited about some of the people we've been able to recruit. Jason Cavallari, Tom Dotery, Joshua Clayman Kumar. She is a she, but she's pretty not notorietable.
Yeah, we're actually trying to get her on the show as well. I know our producer spoke with her at that same event.
Yeah. And no, so you need to, I'll drop her an email and say, hey, you guys could reach out to him, because we want those industry experts. Because one of the challenges with creating on-demand, accurate education is if we went to print, if we had to print a textbook, we would never. Everything we would teach would be irrelevant because it'd be in print. And it would take 3 years to get approved, which is why we tell people, hey, if you want to talk about fake cryptocurrency exchange volume, you guys need to listen to the Bad Crypto podcast, because you guys have brought on Dimitri and you just provide a wealth of information for folks. So we integrate the law plus what is new and late breaking. So next week, we're going to have a discussion about EOS and the fact that they paid a 0.006 fine for the $4 billion they raised. So they paid $24 million to raise $4 billion. What does this mean for the industry? What does this mean from a legal perspective?
Yeah, we actually just talked about that on the episode of Bad News that just came out. So timestamp, we're actually recording this with Samson on the 4th of October, though the interview probably won't go live for a couple months. But the episode that just came out, we talked about this, and Travis brought up the point that their fine was less than what they paid for the voice.com domain that they intend to use for EOS Voice, hopefully.
Yeah, it's so so some of them are legal questions, some of them are like ethical and moral. So for the program at the University of New Hampshire, it's designed to give lay people, those future policymakers, an idea of what is blockchain. When we say tokenomics, what does that mean? When people say crypto economics, what's the difference? And how does that roll into quote unquote smart government, particularly when we talk about social impact?
Let's start there with your specialty then. By the way, you're also an adjunct professor at Columbia University. Just want people to know that you are heavily into the raise space for cryptos. In fact, you have co-authored a book I see in your site called Raising Money, Understanding Cryptocurrencies, Crowdfunding, Startup Capital, and so on and so forth, that you have co-authored, and you're doing an event on raising capital. So how has the space, changed? Is the ICO dead for good? Is long live the STO? What are you seeing?
No. Real quick, Joel, we're going to actually do an ICO now because of that. All we got to do is pay a fine of $24 million. So we're going to create our own.
Well, let's blow away EOS then. Let's not just raise $4 billion. Let's raise $4 trillion.
Oh.
And let's do the ICO over the rest of our lives.
Very good idea. Yeah.
No, I appreciate the humor, but that's just called regulatory arbitrage, right? And so it's, hey, if we raise X and we only pay this little tiny amount, does it really matter? And so I tell people that the SEC didn't hit EOS with the fine or a slap on the wrist. It was more like a soft glare. Compared to how much
slightly disapproval stare from the SEC. Like, I don't know, we moderately dislike this.
And so when we look at whether you call it an ICO, an STO, an initial coin offering, a securitized token offering, a token generating event, a digital security offering, those are all crowdfunding. To give you a better context,
or a scam.
Or a scam, right? You can crowdfund for a scam too. Later, we'll talk about my feelings on XRP. And so, it's not but it's an O. But I'll explain this to you in 4 easy buckets. You have your business, whatever your business happens to be. You could be an ice cream shop or a bank or a money transmitter, right? That's your business. Then you have blockchain. Blockchain is a tool that your business should be using to make money. So the first question is, does blockchain, the tool, make your business money? I don't care if you're a taco shop or a travel agency. Does blockchain, the tool, make your business money? After we answer that, we look at tokens and cryptos. So tokens and cryptos, as they're used, those are actually crowdfunding, because the reason you're trying to raise money via issuing a token or a crypto is for your business. That fourth bucket is operations, because the reason you're raising money is to scale or grow your operations. So if you look at your business, ice cream shop, travel agency, is blockchain the right solution for you? Yes or no? If it's not the right tool for you because it doesn't make you any more profitable, don't use it. If you say, hey, we're going to issue a token or a crypto for our business, your business is a taco shop or a travel agent, okay, that's crowdfunding. You're literally seeking to raise money to either scale your operations or grow your operations. And so when you look at it from that perspective, the need for startup capital for business funding isn't going anywhere. What you call it, again, when you file your information with the SEC, you can call it a securitized token offering. But I always like to ask, where did this concept of a token offering even come from? Because it's a misnomer. There's no such thing as a token offering. It just never existed. It's a marketing term. You can't securitize a token offering any more than you can securitize a gummy bear offering. But you can call it whatever you like after you fill out your Form C or your private placement memorandum for your Reg Ds. Call it whatever you like, knock yourself out. You will hit a moment where, much like Block One, they spent $2 million on their Reg A paperwork to raise I think they've raised 23 million so far. You could call it whatever you want, but you're going to pay a premium so that your regulator understands, here's what we're actually trying to issue. So in general, I think that crowdfunding is going to take off. However, when we say STOs, ICOs, we're going to evolve into just calling them digital securities, our digital assets. And so whatever your digital asset is, you're going to need to raise money for it.
So let me ask you this, Samson, about, sort of how the tokens, whenever, if we bought a bunch of tokens in the EOS, sort of, their ICO, we don't own any of Block One, right? We don't have any equity within Block One at all. Now, it seems, though, as we move forward, as you just mentioned, digital assets and how this is going to be moving. So when are we going to start seeing more of a merger between equity plus tokens? So like I own X amount of tokens of this, that translates into 0.0 whatever percentage of the company. Is that coming, and how far until you see that becomes the norm?
This is where things get really boring because that already exists. And so
don't be too boring, Samson. Like,
yeah.
If you're going to say boring stuff, say it with a funny voice so we'll pay attention.
Fair enough. I hate to break it to you, but when folks say tokens, they really mean coupons. Right? You guys are like the modern day coupon clippers when you're issuing tokens. But to your point, EOS token holders, they didn't get shares of Block One. They don't own any equity in the business. So it's like XRP, right? What are you doing with your Ripple? Nothing. You don't own part of Ripple. You have XRP. That's a digital gummy bear. You can't see it, touch it, smell it, lick it, or nothing. What's the value? I don't know. It's sort of like secondhand toilet paper. You bought it, and I don't even know why. And so when you look at the future of crowdfunding, of raising money, don't care what you call it, you're raising money. It's why we have a class called Raising Money. You're going to look at people who are like, hey, I want to own a piece of the actual company. I'm thinking Shark Tank. I'm thinking Dragon's Den if you're in the UK. I want to own a piece of the actual company, not just the digital thingamajiggy, that digital gummy bear you issue. And that's a big differentiator, particularly when if you happen to be excited about the cannabis space or any emerging business, you don't want to own their token that does what exactly? Their coupon. You want to own a piece of the business. And so that's where the future of raising money, crowdfunding is going.
Does that mean that you see all the altcoins, the utility tokens going away?
So
yeah. And pile on to XRP after that. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
And so if you have a utility token, if you can't use it today, that's not a utility token. You're holding a digital gummy bear. Where can you use it?
But your dentist won't hate you for it.
That's true. That is very true. And so I can see where the dentists like altcoins or shitcoins, because if you're brushing your teeth with shitcoins, good luck on that. But for yourself and your hard-earned money, you actually want to own a piece of the action beyond the poker chips. And so when you look at Ripple is like, hey, let's sell some people XRP, but they can't do anything with it. Because if you're not part of the banking, that ecosystem of banks, you're not doing cross-border settlements. How do you use XRP? You literally just funded Ripple so they could go be Western Union 2.0. And so when we talk about cryptocurrencies and altcoins, that's all a customer service battle. And so every altcoin wants to be, the precious, wants to be the only coin that anyone is using. If you have that mass adoption I tell all of the startups that we work with, everyone is looking for their Silk Road. What's your Silk Road? So if we go back in Bitcoin mythology, Silk Road wanted to sell stuff to people anonymously. They found Bitcoin. That solved a problem. And as a result, Silk Road took off, Bitcoin took off. Why? Problem solution. So if you have a crypto nowadays, an altcoin, where's your Silk Road? If you don't have a Silk Road, if you don't have that point of mass adoption that helps carry you, you're going to be stuck like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is an 11-year open source experiment in possibilities. Most cryptos, altcoins, they don't have the communities to support them for an 11-year burn. And so that's where we're at with cryptos in general.
Can you say that again? Bitcoin is
an 11-year experiment. Bitcoin is an 11-year open source experiment in possibilities and awesomeness. And so your other cryptocurrencies, they don't have a community that will support them for a decade without seeing anything, except Doge. And I love Dogecoin because it's just ridiculous.
Well, I mean, if you love Dogecoin, you should be totally enamored with Badcoin, right? Are your students mining Badcoin yet?
No, they're not mining Badcoin, but we'll set that up so we can specifically do that. We do teach them how to. Most of these folks are lawyers or in policy positions. So literally, one of the assignments is setting up a wallet, which sounds crazy, but remember, outside of this little bubble that this little Bitcoin cryptocurrency bubble, setting up a wallet is a big deal for you. You've never done it before.
Yeah, that's great. Let me ask you this then, because you talk a little bit about this, about why the CFTC is more important than the SEC to the future of cryptos. And I want to know your thoughts on that. I know our audience will like that as well.
Yeah. So this past summer, as Joel mentioned, I also teach at Columbia University. So we coordinated a field trip to the CFTC, or the Commodities and Future Trade Commission. The Commodity and Future Trade Commission, they manage $70 trillion in commodities. The SEC does 100th of that. And so when you look at cryptos, when they're going to raise money, those are securities. Why? Because that business thing, you're raising money for it. So that falls underneath the SEC. So you're going to be underneath the SEC's purview for 6 months to 2 years, depending on how long it takes you to raise your money. After you've raised your money, congratulations. Now you're a business, you're EOS. The thing that you're going to actually create, that token you're going to create, in 90% of the cases, they act just like futures contracts. And the other 10% is their derivatives. And so if you're creating a futures contract or a derivative, but you don't know what those are, you don't know that your work product, your application, falls underneath the governance of the CFTC. And those are different rules completely. So lots of folks are going to find this out, and I hope they have super deep pockets. I think Kik is going through its problem. KIK is going through its problem. They've already in it for $10 million in legal fees. They've raised another $5 million to combat the legal fees. So lots of people are discovering the depth of the river with both feet, and that's always tough.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm really super curious to see where this is going to head. What about the IRS treatment, right? Because CFTC says one thing, SEC says another. Meanwhile, we're waiting on guidance from the IRS because right now they're calling it property.
Yeah, so it really depends on where you're at. So for everyone's like, oh,
I'm in Denver.
Denver, love Colorado.
Yeah.
$1.2 billion in cannabis taxes, but we'll talk about that later. That was in 2018. And so whether you're in Denver or Ohio or Arizona, everyone is treating it slightly different. The states are welcome to do whatever the states want to do. At the federal level, the IRS treats it as a property. And so there's so much gray area that entrepreneurs and startups it's literally like walking through a regulatory minefield because there aren't defined rules of the road.
Isn't that hurting the development and propagation of blockchain and crypto in the U.S.?
No, I wouldn't say so. I would say that if you separate blockchain and technology, when people say, hey, we should have blockchain regulations, it's literally like saying we should regulate the alphabet or Python. right? Or Python, the programming language. Do you want to regulate the alphabet? No. You want to regulate the applications or products of the alphabet. So you could regulate profanity, but FUCK are just alphabets. It's how you arrange them. So when people say blockchain regulations, they don't actually mean blockchain. They mean let's regulate 99% of the time the financial products that you want to build. I do think we need some clarity around there. For the record, the future is tokenized, just not how we think of it today. The tokens will be microtransactions between autonomous cars. And so there is some gray area, but I think if you're looking at the technology versus raising money, the rules of the road for raising money are clearly defined. What you can do with the technology, that is where entrepreneurs and startups are discovering. You just have to, separate the two to know what you're doing.
I tell you what, you got a lot of great metaphors over there. You're pretty hilarious with them. I don't know that we've had anybody on the show drop as many metaphors as you. Good stuff. I want to ask about this. So, here's the deal. Like, if I have a problem with an exchange, most of the time, like, I can't call anybody, and there's like the customer service issue with crypto is so bad. Like, if something goes down, like, I mean, hopefully you'll message somebody, and hopefully somebody will eventually get back to you. So customer service is a really big issue, I think, with cryptos, especially on exchanges. And you seem to think that the cell phone companies are going to win this customer service battle within cryptos. Why is that?
The cell phone companies are going to win because you can't see my hands since we're on the radio. But if you're holding a phone that 5 by 3.5 inches, they own that real estate. They own 90% of your attention. And so where cryptocurrencies are failing is they have no mass adoption. And so where cell phone companies are just doing a bang up job, once you get out of the state, I spent about half my year in the Middle East, North Africa area, primarily in Dubai. You can use M-Pesa, which is initially out of Kenya. So M-Pesa does around 32% of the GDP of Kenya, and it's a mobile money application. Doesn't involve cryptos. It doesn't even remember the phones, the Nokias, the indestructible Nokias from back in the day that you could play Snake on. You can use M-Pesa on those. You don't need a smartphone. Then M-Pesa is one thing. WeChat is another payment application, not cryptos, just regular RMB yuan from China. And so last year they did $17 trillion worth of transactions. So we always talk about how we're going to bank the unbanked. It's not that they're unbanked. They just don't use your bank. They use their cell phone. This has been proven across the world. They're like, oh, but they can't read. They can use a cell phone. Mm-hmm. And so when people say we're going to bank the unbanked, they're just not your customers because you've never bothered to go down to that price point to say, how do we make it sticky, convenient, and easy for someone to send and receive value? This is where the cell phone companies come in, because the cell phone companies, banking is not their business. They just add it on as as gravy. And so when you look at, even though I despise Libra as like a premise overall, when you look at Facebook, if they were allowed to roll out Libra via WhatsApp, Instant Messenger, and Messenger, it's going to be rolled out on your cell phone. And so in that instance, all of these other crypto thingamajiggies are just going away. They'll be vaporware because whoever owns this little bit of real estate, those 5 by 2.5 inches, they own your customer's attention. And this is where the cell phone companies, the moment Apple decides to get out of the credit card business and into the value exchange business, you're done.
Yeah, and I wonder, so let's go down that rabbit hole. Let's talk about your disdain for Libra and why that is. And when do you think Apple Pay is going to be crypto ready?
Apple Pay could be crypto ready tomorrow.
Right, not could it. When do you think they're going to pull the trigger on that?
You got to look at their business model. Does it behoove them to switch to crypto? What I love about Satoshi's paper, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So it doesn't say a peer-to-exchange, a peer-to-custodian, a peer-to-Binance, a peer-to-EOS. It just says Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And so when you look at a cell phone company like Apple, or Apple does a lot of things, not just cell phones. When you look at Apple, they're really not in the banking business. They're really not in the value exchange business. They're in how do we make our customers not leave? Because now they're calculating what is the lifetime value of a user. And so by enabling them to do money, to send value or money, whether it's fiat or crypto, that's what makes them actual money, realized money. So will they use crypto? Probably not. Why? It doesn't increase their bottom line because they're fully entrenched in the fiat space. And this is where it becomes a customer service battle. Because the human's like, who makes sending value easier? Tron, EOS, Corda, Ethereum, Artbytes, Digibytes, who makes that easier? And then if Apple has put it on your phone or your wristwatch, Apple's going to be dominating. Yeah, that's just what it comes. It's customer service battle.
Yeah, there's a wrench in that, though. Today, there was an article on CNET that says Tim Cook gives a hard no on Apple cryptocurrency. He thinks that he believes deeply that currency must remain in the hands of states. He said this: I am not comfortable with the idea that a private group creates a competing currency. He was talking about Libra. And he goes, money, like defense, must remain in the hands of states. We elect our representatives to assume government responsibilities. Companies are not elected. They do not have to go on this ground. So while I think that's interesting, think about this, though. Apple does have Apple Pay. They do have their credit card thing. However, their biggest economy in a lot of ways is their gift card economy, right? Yeah. Because people are buying their gift card. That's really like a utility token in a lot of other people's ecosystems, right? In a lot of ways, because you have to buy these cash credits to be able to buy these apps on the Apple ecosystem. So I find that interesting that, they've launched their own branded credit card, but dude, this isn't credit card time. Credit card time was 10 years ago. Now it's digital asset time. I really don't know what they're thinking.
It's still usury time for them, though, because the interest rate is ridiculous.
Yeah. So remember, you got to think about what is in their bottom line interest. And so when you're talking about, everyone's always so excited about, mass adoption, the incumbents, they're not going to roll over and give you their customers, because how am I supposed to extract value from a customer if I let you steal them? And this is where cryptocurrencies become a customer service battle at its core, because at the end of the day, it's all about your customer acquisition cost. But in the crypto space, it's not mature enough to have done the math on that. So they're not thinking that way. So that's one thing. And when we talk about Libra, I don't know if I can curse on this show, so you have to bleep this out.
Go for it. Let her rip.
Oh, excellent. It is fundamentally f***ed up. I just want to repeat that. It is a fundamentally f***ed up and flawed system, because we're not questioning, does blockchain, the technology, work, right? It's an 11-year-old open source experiment. Blockchain works. We're not saying do cryptocurrencies work. Cryptocurrencies being the easiest application of distributed ledger technology. Yes, blockchain, DLT tech, that works. Cryptocurrencies, the concept, it works. It's been validated. Bitcoin did it. Dogecoin does it all day long. It works. Where that moment of this is complete fuckery enters is where you have a private corporation who claims the right to print money out of thin code with no social recourse. And so to Tim Cook's point, today it's Calibra, a Swiss-based company, who issues Libra, their token, all owned by board members appointed by the Facebook organization. Mm-hmm. Next year, it's ExxonMobil. Pick a random company. And so it's ExxonMobil issues its own token, followed by Russian company number 1, Chinese company number 2. Is that a good idea? And so we've seen company issued currency or money during slavery. It was just called script. You could only use script at the plantation store. And so slavery never ended. It was just expanded to include everyone. I forget who says this, but I like to say that. And so when you look at Facebook, you know what they can do with your consumer data, particularly when we look at our election from 2016. You know what Cambridge Analytica or one of their minions can do with your consumer data. When you add on what we call or refer to as haggle data, right? I want to sell Joel a chicken. Joel wants to buy this chicken. And so we haggle back and forth over the price. When they're able to access that exchange of not only value, but the context around the price of that commodity or that good or that service, now they're taking all your consumer data, adding a layer of haggle data or financial data to it. And what then is their ability to manipulate you as a consumer, to define what you actually want and also set the price. There's a scenario where We can actually set the price for Depends adult diapers based upon what you've been saying over your social media. So I go to look for it. The Depends are $3. Joel goes to look for it, but Joel has been saying how he's running low or needs it, and now it's $4.50.
I do. I'm getting old.
Yeah, it seems like a silly little thing, but if you've ever gone to check the price of an airplane ticket and then gone back, it's gone up.
Yep.
Think about that, but for all consumer goods. And so if Facebook were allowed to issue its own currency, there's so much manipulation on the commodity side of things. But more importantly, from a political side, they go into any emerging country and say, hey, we're going to give you, person we just picked because you're going to let us into your country, 50 billion Libra coins that are valued, that are a pegged currency, dollar for dollar to the US. So you're telling someone, let us come in and run your technology infrastructure so we can suck down all your user data and not give them any value. And we will give you the equivalent of $50 billion. And we're going to print this out of thin air.
Isn't that what the government does anyway?
Yeah, but the government, at least we can fake it like they're elected by regular humans. When you're looking at Libra, it's Zuck and his buddy.
He's not a regular human. That's right.
Yeah. It's like, so they're not responsible to anyone. It's just
what's to stop them from just like setting it up in Bermuda or setting up Libra out of Switzerland? They don't have to do it out of America. So America could regulate them all out of America all they want, but they just say, okay, screw you guys, I'm going to Malta. And they do that.
And you know what? They could do that. But then if you look at what Germany, this is the week of October 4th. So if you look at what Germany and France have done to say, no, there's going to be no Libra in the EU. And so that's a big move because, again, if you give one private institute the right to print money, the rest are going to want to claim that, and they have zero social responsibility.
But they said it in German and French. So they said nein and no.
Yes, nein and no. I don't know how you say f***ed up in German. Fubar. Libra is fubar. So you don't do it.
Okay, so are you saying, as a follow-up to that the government is going to shut it down? Because we just talked on the bad news that the pre-test net is up and they're working on the, releasing the main net. They're not stopping.
I'm saying, man, I wish fortunately, this is not a video. This is a podcast. Hold a dollar in your hand. A US dollar. A US dollar has no actual money, right? The value goes up and down. Facebook doesn't actually care about the dollar. They want your data. They want to add on that layer of haggle data. Why? Oh, there you go. Joel's got a dollar up.
I got a dollar bill.
Right? You got to fold it and have long ways, Joel. There you go. And so Facebook doesn't necessarily want your fiat money. They want your data because a Facebook user is worth about $212 a year. That's how you get free stuff because you're the product. And so the value of money goes up, it goes down, it goes up, it goes down. It's way too volatile for Facebook. However, the value of data, that's always going up. And so with their Libra coin, they would be able to collect more data on you. And so you might see initially, because the folks on Capitol Hill, like a mile and a half from me, they've got their heads up their ass and they don't even email. So initially they might make some progress, but this next generation of wiser, smarter folks are going to be like, hold up, either self-sovereign identity, data protection rights. I should own my own data. How is Facebook making additional money off of me? And so you will see where people are going to call a hard timeout on Facebook, particularly here in the States, in the EU, where consumer protection rules are a little bit more developed.
Dude, I got to tell you this as we're running out of time here. I think we got to have you on again here, maybe in like November or December before the year rolls out, because you're just a wealth of knowledge. We got a bunch of other topics over here we could discuss, but we're kind of running out of time. So, what are maybe some final words of wisdom for folks at this time until we meet again?
The politics of tribalism and cryptos, and so everybody's got their own crypto that they love. Everyone's got their crypto that they hate. It's not about decentralization. It's about race to number one. So keep that in mind. I like to remind people Bitcoin doesn't address unemployment. Poor people will still be poor. How do we solve that? Because that's the real social issue That's the real issue we need to solve.
Let's have you back on, man. I want to talk about these and all these other things as well. Is axesandeggs.com the best place for people to find you?
Yeah. www.axesandeggs.com will get the other thing fixed that you mentioned. And that's it. And so Bitcoin is the Model T of DLTs. Let's also talk about that too the next time.
It's also the BLT of DLTs.
Well, I've always thought that it might be the MySpace of crypto, right? Or the Friendster. It's like that first one that's kind of getting us going.
Yeah.
But is it going to be the one that takes us over the finish line down the road? Hard to say. There's a lot of other innovative things out there. So I like that, the Model T version of the distributed ledger. That's good stuff.
I like the BLT version because I'm hungry.
I'm hungry now. He was talking about tacos and now BLTs. Jesus,
ladies and gentlemen, Samson Williams, great stuff, and you're definitely coming back. If you'll, come back. That is, I mean, we can't make you come back.
Yeah, I'm always happy to shield education anywhere someone wants to listen.
Travis, there's one particular thing he said that I loved it so much that I made a note that we need to turn it into a quote, an image quote to post on social media. And that's where he said, Bitcoin is an 11-year open source experiment in possibilities.
Very good. It's so true. It is. And we're still figuring it all out, all the different things that can happen. And that's great stuff. Great interview. Really looking forward to having him back again. Really liked chatting with Samson. Great stuff. So
we have so many questions on here, Travis, that we didn't get to. We talking about, Silk Road and crowdfunding and crypto conferences and the politics and tribalism of cryptos. We have all these notes here of things that we didn't even get to. And he is so coming back, whether he wants to or not.
Well, he's going to want to, and because if he doesn't want to, he won't.
That's true. he's a grown-ass man.
Yeah.
He's an adult.
Like
Samson, please come back. Please. We love you.
Yeah. Great stuff. You know who else we love is NASGO, NASGO.com. NASGO is the GoDaddy of blockchain. You can tokenize your business today, no coding required. They've developed a very easy solution for businesses and influencers to transition into the blockchainification space. The easy-to-use NASGO wallet provides a lot of tools to advance your business without breaking the bank. And they have all these different side chains and APIs and all this cool stuff that they can do. If you want to learn more about that, check us out at badco.in/282. That's where we chatted with them. And again, NASGO.com, NASGOlicious.
We have the best sponsors, Mr. Travis, right?
We do.
We also have the best listeners and the best citizens of this fine republic of Bad Cryptopia, where it's always sunny and there's rainbows and there's confetti and there's unicorn farts.
Stay bad.
You really want to end it so fast. Like Travis is halfway out the door. I gotta go. See y'all. Stay back.
Stay back.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.